Welcome to Pisto's world of stories. Growing up, Daniel and I were more than just brothers. We were each other's lifeline. We shared a cramped bedroom in our small suburban house, trading secrets late into the night and dreaming of all the things we'd do when we were older. Daniel was always the leader, bold, confident, and unafraid to take risks, while I, Ethan, was the careful one, the quiet observer. He protected me from bullies, taught me how to play basketball, and stood up for me when our parents got strict. When we were teenagers, tragedy struck. Our parents were killed in a car accident on their way back from an anniversary dinner. I was 16. Daniel was 18. Losing them felt like someone had ripped the floor out from under us. In that moment, Daniel didn't just become my brother. He became my guardian, my role model, and the only family I had left. He worked nights and studied during the day to make sure we both stayed afloat. Because of everything he had done for me, I owed Daniel my loyalty. I trusted him more than anyone. And when he met Olivia years later, I was genuinely happy for him. She was kind, warm, and made him smile in a way I hadn't seen in years. I didn't know it then, but her arrival would set off a chain of events that would shake the very foundation of the bond we had built. I could never have imagined that the woman who seemed perfect for my brother would one day confess her love for me. I met Olivia on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Daniel had invited me to join them for lunch at a small Italian restaurant downtown. When I walked in, he was already seated with her. A petite woman with soft brown hair, green eyes, and a smile that seemed to warm the whole room. She stood to shake my hand, and there was something about her that felt disarming. From the first conversation, she was attentive. She asked about my job, my hobbies, and even my favorite books, things most people overlooked. She laughed at my jokes, even the lame ones, and kept glancing at Daniel like he was her whole world. I liked her immediately, not in any inappropriate way, but because she made my brother happy, and that was all I ever wanted. As months passed, Olivia became part of the family. She came to our Sunday basketball games, joined us for barbecues, and even called me for help when Daniel was too busy. Back then, I saw her as the sister I never had. But in hindsight, there were moments, brief glances, lingering touches, late-night texts, that should have made me question her intentions. I just didn't see it, not yet. When Daniel and Olivia got engaged, he asked me to be his best man. I didn't hesitate. The wedding was small but beautiful, and watching him slip that ring onto her finger filled me with pride. I thought our family was whole again. In the months that followed, Olivia and I grew closer. It wasn't intentional, it just happened. She'd call me when she was stuck on a work problem, or invite me over for dinner when Daniel had late meetings. Sometimes we'd just sit on the porch drinking coffee, talking about life. There was one night when we stayed up until 2 a.m., laughing over old photos of Daniel. She rested her head on my shoulder, and I didn't move. I told myself it was harmless. She was my brother's wife, nothing more. But deep down, I started to notice the way she looked at me, like she was seeing something in me no one else did. It was flattering and dangerous. The first real warning came one afternoon when Olivia texted me out of nowhere. "Sometimes I feel like you get me more than Daniel does." I didn't know how to respond, so I sent back something safe. "He loves you, Liv. You're lucky to have each other." She didn't reply right away, but later that night she called. She said Daniel had been distant lately, focused on work, and she felt invisible. I listened, offering comfort, but my heart sank. Then came the touches. A hand on mine that lingered too long. A hug that felt too close. I told myself she was just affectionate, but my gut told me otherwise. I started avoiding situations where we'd be alone, but somehow, she always found a reason to see me. Looking back, I realized she had been testing the waters, seeing how far she could push before I pushed back. I wish I had set boundaries then, but I didn't want to hurt her or Daniel. It happened on a rainy Thursday. Daniel was away on a business trip, and Olivia called me, her voice trembling. She said she was feeling down and asked if I could come over. I hesitated, but she sounded so fragile that I couldn't say no. When I arrived, she was curled up on the couch, wearing one of Daniel's hoodies. She looked up at me with teary eyes.
"I'm glad you came,"
she whispered. I sat down, trying to keep things light, but she wasn't in the mood for small talk. Then, she said it, the words that changed everything.
"Ethan, I can't keep this inside anymore. I love you."
My chest tightened. I stood up, pacing. "Olivia, you're my brother's wife," I said firmly. But she just looked at me, her voice breaking.
"I know, but I can't help it. And I think you feel the same."
I froze in that living room, rain hammering the windows like it was urging me to leave. My mind was split in two, one side screaming at me to walk away, the other whispering that maybe, just maybe, she was right. "Olivia," I said, forcing my voice to stay calm. "You love Daniel. You married him. Whatever you think you feel for me, it can't happen." She stared at me, tears glistening on her cheeks.
"Daniel doesn't see me anymore, Ethan. But you've always been there."
Every word was a dagger to my chest. A part of me wanted to hold her, to tell her she wasn't crazy, that I had noticed her too. But loyalty is a heavy thing, and mine was chained to Daniel. I walked out that night without looking back, but her voice followed me. The days after were tense. Olivia didn't call, didn't text. When I saw her again, it was at a family barbecue Daniel hosted. She acted like nothing had happened, smiling, laughing, even patting me on the back like an old friend. Daniel was oblivious, telling me how lucky he was to have her. I smiled and nodded, my stomach churning. Every time Olivia's hand brushed mine when she passed me a plate, I flinched. I was terrified Daniel would notice something in my eyes, some crack in my mask. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. I told myself that silence was the safest choice. If Daniel never knew, our bond could stay intact. But silence has a way of rotting the truth from the inside out. A few weeks later, Olivia cornered me after Daniel had stepped outside to take a phone call. We were in the kitchen, just the two of us.
"We can't keep pretending,"
she said. I backed up, my voice low. "Yes, we can. And we will. For Daniel's sake." She laughed bitterly.
"For Daniel's sake, or yours? Are you scared of hurting him, or scared of admitting you want me too?"
Her words hit hard because there was truth in them. I wasn't sure anymore if my silence was an act of loyalty or cowardice. All I knew was that I couldn't let Daniel's world crumble, even if mine already had. I started pulling away, finding excuses not to visit. I worked longer hours, ignored her texts, and even skipped family dinners. Daniel noticed but assumed I was just busy. "We'll all get together soon," he said, clapping my shoulder. Olivia, however, wasn't fooled. She sent one final message. "You can run, but you can't erase what happened between us." I didn't reply. I deleted it, but the words burned into my mind. Months passed. Daniel and Olivia stayed together, but I couldn't help noticing cracks. Quiet arguments, her distracted gaze at family events. Sometimes, I caught her looking at me across the room, and I'd look away before Daniel could follow her eyes. Years later, nothing has been spoken of that night. Daniel still doesn't know, and maybe he never will. But every time I see them together, I feel the weight of the choice I made. Was I noble for keeping quiet? Did I protect him from heartbreak? Or was I a coward, too afraid to face the destruction the truth would cause? They say betrayal comes from action. A kiss, a lie, a knife in the back. But I've learned it can come from silence too. And sometimes, silence is the loudest betrayal of all. Now I live with a secret that will die with me. Or maybe one day it won't. It had been almost 3 years since that rainy night. I thought the secret was buried deep enough to never resurface. until Olivia decided otherwise. One evening, Daniel called me out of the blue. His voice was tight, controlled, too controlled.
Ethan, I need to see you. Tonight.
When I arrived, Olivia was there too, sitting on the couch with her arms crossed. Daniel stood by the window, his jaw clenched. He turned to me, his eyes searching mine.
Olivia told me everything.
He said flatly. The air left my lungs. My knees felt weak. I glanced at her, but she wouldn't meet my eyes.
She said she told you she loved you, but you didn't tell me.
His voice cracked slightly.
Is it true?
I swallowed hard. Yes, she told me, but nothing happened, Daniel. I swear. Daniel paced the room, running a hand through his hair.
Why didn't you tell me?
He asked, his voice heavy with hurt.
We've been through everything together, Ethan. You could have told me.
I stepped forward, my own voice breaking. Because you're my brother. You've done more for me than anyone ever has. I couldn't bear to see you hurt, especially by her. He stopped pacing and just looked at me. There was no anger in his eyes, only disappointment and sadness.
You thought you were protecting me, but keeping it from me hurt worse.
Olivia stood up, her voice sharp.
You're making me sound like the villain.
Daniel cut her off.
You were the villain, Olivia. You made vows to me, and you broke them in your heart. Ethan, he might have kept it from me, but you crossed the line first.
Daniel packed a bag that night. Olivia begged him to stay, swore it was just a moment of weakness, that she still loved him. But he didn't waver.
I can forgive my brother,
He said, his voice steady.
but I can't live with a wife who secretly loved someone else, especially my own blood.
He turned to me as we walked out together.
Ethan, you and we've been brothers since birth, but we've been family since that night Mom and Dad died. I won't let this break us.
I wanted to say something, to apologize again, but he just put a hand on my shoulder.
You don't need to say anything. Just don't ever keep something like this from me again.
Daniel stayed with me for a while after the divorce. We cooked dinner together like we used to as kids, played basketball on weekends, and talked late into the night. Felt like we'd gone back in time, before Olivia, before the lies. One night, he said something I'll never forget.
Ethan, love will come and go, but brothers? Brothers are forever.
I realized then that even though my silence had been wrong, our bond had survived it. Maybe even grown stronger because of the pain we'd faced. Olivia was gone, but my brother was still here. And that was all that mattered.